Do you know, every time when we unlock our mobile or when we use our laptop or even when we just bank online or even when we text a person, one of our friends or one of our relatives, we are generating data. Data is nothing but whatever the things that we are doing back and forth, like text that we are sending to our friends, or logging into a website, ordering food or shopping online. Everything is a data that is getting generated each and every single second. So the world around us is occupied with full data. With lots of data that is being generated each and every single second, have you ever thought, where do they store it? Or how are they organizing each and every single data that millions of us are creating? And surely you will think, hey, as an individual, I used to store those data in my mobile or in my laptop in a Google Sheet or in a Google document or even an Excel sheet or a Word document. That's where we will store all of our information, right? But how do companies used to do that? Are they really storing those data in a simple Excel sheet or a Word document? No. Companies used to have massive amount of data. They used to produce lots and lots of data, and they have to keep it in a very secure and a safe place. They have lots of data where they can't keep everything in one single laptop, right? So that's when database comes into a picture. A database is something looks like a container where we can store large and massive amount of data, and the most important thing is we can organize those data inside the database. Organizing is nothing but you can just search the data which is required within the database, manage it in a well organized way, and also it is very quick and easy to access. Rather than moving from one Excel sheet to another or one document to another, everything is well organized within the database, so the company information, the employee or the client can easily access those files which is being stored in the database. That's the main reason they are using database. Second of all, the reason that we are using database instead of an Excel sheet or a spreadsheet is because just imagine the Excel sheet do have thousands or 2,000 rows worth of data, and sometimes when you're just moving from one Excel sheet to another, it might be very slow, and also there might be some chance where it might crash on us, right? It will not open because the data is very huge. Even when we are using spreadsheet, that happens. Large amount of data cannot be accessible through spreadsheet. Sometimes it crashes, it will throw an error that it is still loading, something like that. So in order to prevent that, that's the main reason that we are using database. And one more thing is security. If you're using files that are present in your laptop, there might be a high security concern. Anybody can open it, anybody can access it, but instead if you store those data in a database, you can control who's going to access which file and whether they can modify it, whether they can delete it or anything in between, right? You can have the control on who's going to access what, and if you don't want them to access anything, you can just simply block it. So that's the main reason that we are using database for having a quick and easy access, and it will be well organized, and also it is more secure than storing the data in our laptop or in our mobile. So now, how are we going to talk with the database? So for that, we used to use a language which is called as SQL, which means Structured Query Language, or you can also call that as SQL. While using SQL, it will basically ask different questions to database, like insert me this table or update this row with a different information, or you just have to delete an information. So all of those things you used to do it using SQL, and that's how the database will understand what is the information that we need and what are the information that we are retrieving from it, how are we going to modify the data, all of those things. So for that we used to use SQL. So now how are we going to use this SQL to fetch different information? Let's take an example of a company. So in a company there will be employee, client, and there'll be different teams and all that. The employee will have to fetch certain data, so they will be using SQL query to fetch few information from the data. Sometimes it might be millions of rows of information worth of data the employee will need to analyze basic problem that they have to solve, right? So they will give lots and lots of query to the database. One other thing is that a company can build an application or even a software. For example, something like an Amazon. The Amazon company has created a website which is called as Amazon, where we go shop. Correct? So that's called an website, and also they have created several other applications. So they will just fetch the information. Basically a website is in the front end, but all of its data is being stored in the back end. That is where the database relies. So the website and the application or any software that they are using, all the data is getting fetched from the database, and for that they also use SQL queries. And one other way is if they want to do some data visualization, they want to take a report on how the customer is doing for the past 6 months. So for the past 6 months of data, they're going to put that in a well structured format, like a dashboard or visually appealing charts, pie charts, all of those things. So for that they'll be using tools like Power BI, Tableau, Looker Studio to create those dashboards. Again, where are they fetching those data? Everything is being fetched from the database, and to fetch those data from the database they are using SQL queries. As I told you before, a database is like a container, right? And to retrieve the information from that container we use SQL. Basically SQL speaks with the database. But how all of these things are happening? How do SQL just go to the database and fetch those information? And for that we need something called a software, right? So that's when DBMS comes into picture. DBMS stands for Database Management System. It's nothing but a software that manages our database. So basically we will run multiple SQL queries from client side, from employee side, or from a website or an application, or even from a Power BI Looker Studio. So all of these SQL requests that would be passed into our DBMS, Database Management System, and that is the one which will tell which task needs to be done first, like what is the priority, which SQL query has to run first, and what is the next query that needs to be run. So it will prioritize those multiple requests. And also the software is going to manage our security. It's going to make sure that the data that is being retrieved, which is coming in, going out, everything is safe and secure. And also the software will give the permission whether that particular person can access this information or not. So this is where the DBMS comes into a picture, and the DBMS softwares are something like SQL Server, MySQL, Microsoft SQL. All of those things are basically called as database management systems. Well, I have a question for you. So many of us would have come across the word database, right? When you find that word database, what comes to your mind? Leave the comment down below. Because I remember well in college, whenever a database comes in, I used to think something else until I know what the real meaning is. So I'm curious to see what you understand when the term database is being used? Leave the comment down below. Now we have our data and our software. So the next thing which we will require is a hardware, a powerful computer which keeps running without, shutting down, right? For that, we need a server. Server is a powerful computer that keeps running our database 24/7. And also you can just see each company or each university used to have a server room that keeps running every single day. So that's the physical server that is being stored inside the company or inside the university. And there is one more thing, which is like cloud-based servers, like AWS, Azure, all of those things are cloud-based servers. So we need these servers to run our database. Let's move on to our next topic, where we are going to learn how is an SQL database being structured. What is the hierarchy of our SQL database? First comes the server. It's a powerful PC where all the database is being running 24/7. And the database is nothing but it contains all the data. So there will be different sets of database, okay, for different teams, such as the sales team will have a different set of database called sales database. It will have so many information related to sales. And another team, which is called as client database, will have different informations related to client data. And other one is for HR databases, where it will have lots of information about the employee details, all of those things. So database will be different from one team to another. So that's what a database is. Now we are going to categorize. Under each team there will be lots of category, right? So that's when schema comes into place. It's like logically grouping different objects together. So say for example, if we have customer related data, there'll be lots of tables which are related to customers. So that will come under customer schema. And there will be millions of tables worth of data related to delivery. So that comes under delivery schema. So it is all being grouped together under each category. So that is what called as schema. Multiple tables will be grouped together under one category, which is called as delivery schema or customer schema. Likewise, under schema we will have individual tables. It's just like a spreadsheet. In Excel, how you work with different tables, right? So that is how it will look like. So a table will contain column as well as a row. So column is also called as fields. So it will have the headers with what type of data that is being stored, all of those things like name, ID, what is the customer name, all of those things that will come under column. And the next thing will be rows, right? Rows are also called as records. So each row will have data of a customer. So the customer is Walmart. What are the sales that they have done? So all of those information will be reflected in the row. So each row will contain different information for a customer. And individual cells will have specific information, like what is the name of the customer, or what is the revenue that they have generated. Likewise, individual cell will have individual data points. And also there is one more important field which is called as primary key. It is a unique ID which will be there in each row. It's going to be unique value. So it's just like serial numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Or it's very unique to each and every single customer. So that's called as primary key. The next topic which we are going to see is what are data types in SQL. So data types is nothing but what kind of data we are storing inside a database. Okay, that is called as data types. So we have different data types, like numeric data type, which has integer or int. It's like a whole number, 1 2 3 4 5. It's like integers, right? And the decimal numbers are nothing but the numbers with the decimal, 3.4, 104.27. all of these things are called as decimal data types. This is for numeric values, right? And if you want to enter a text or a string, we have another data type which is called as char. That is nothing but characters. It's a fixed length text. If the char is 5 or 8, then only 8 characters can be listed. If you type 9 characters, it will not take it through. So always char is nothing but a fixed length of text. And there is a varchar. It's a variable length text, so it's very dynamic and you can just insert however characters that you want. So that is called as varchar. And next data type is called as date. So date data type will typically store the date, year, month, or date, or month, date, year, likewise. And also there is another data type which is called as time. So it basically stores the time that we are currently in. So these are the different data types that we have. And as you can see, in SQL, the database are being well structured and well organized. So whenever we are inserting certain types, we have to make sure that we are giving the data type, so the database can understand what type of information that we are entering into the system, right? So that's the reason we have data types in SQL. Give me a thumbs up if you have understood all the terms which we have discussed right now about SQL. Next, we are going to see types of databases. There are different types of database, but the most popular one right now is relational database. Just like the term suggests, it is related to different tables. Tables are related to each other. That's the reason it is called as relational. So the data is being stored in a tables which has rows and columns, and the most important thing is it is all being connected together. Say for example, there is a sales table which will directly be relational to customer table, because sales will not happen if customer is not there, right? So sales data is pretty much linked to customers table, right? So that's the reason it is called as relational database. And for example, the software such as Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, and PostgreSQL, all of these things are examples of relational database, and it is the most popular one among other databases. And the second one which we have would be key value database. So here the data is stored in pairs, like it is grouped together. There is a key which has the value of it. Just like, for example, what's the United States of America? What are the different states that we have in the USA? So the different states will be like Alaska, New Jersey, all of those things, right? So that is how the key value database is being structured. It is grouped together in pairs. And a very well-known example is Amazon DynamoDB as well as Redis. And the next one is going to be column-based database. Here, instead of data being stored in rows, the data will get stored by columns. So it would be grouped together with several columns. So that's the reason it is called as column-based database. It is great for researching and analytical processes. For example, if you want to take a sale for this entire year, or if you want to take sales for the past 5 years, so they will be using column-based database. And a very good example for this is Snowflake, or Amazon Redshift. So these tools will be using column-based database. And the next comes graph database. Just like the name suggests, it focuses on relationships between different data points. So it is like optimized to capture and search the connection between different items. So it will just go with connecting different objects or elements, and that's how it has been grouped together. So that is called as graph database. And a very well-known example is Neo4j and Amazon Neptune. And the fifth database set would be document database. So all the data is being stored in terms of documents. Each documents can contain several pages of information, which can be like a JSON object or XML documents, all of those things. Typically it will have lots of documents worth of data. And a very good example for this is MongoDB and Azure Cosmos DB. Is a very good example for document databases. So you don't have to worry, we will be going through each of these database step by step in our future videos, so where you will get to know what are the difference between using these database, like what is the difference by using relational database, key-based database, graph database, and all that. So we will learn that in the future videos. The relational database typically are well structured and uses SQL, whereas key value, document database, column-based database, graph database, all of those things are a bit flexible and not that structured, but it can be flexible. It can be used with large and complex data, so they come under the category of NoSQL. So this is the basic difference between SQL and NoSQL. So in this video you came across different terms like what is a database, what does SQL mean, what is DBMS, server, schema, table, primary key, data types, and what are the different databases that are available. I hope this video helped you to get started with SQL, learning right from the basic. And if you really like this video, give me a thumbs up and stay tuned for more videos to come where we will be jumping in to live example. We will discuss about different queries that are being used in SQL with live examples. So stay tuned for that. Smash the like button and hit the subscribe button. I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye bye.